Incremental routines. Wow, it's been 5 years already. This collection turns 5 years old. I have been using SuperMemo for more than that because I don't keep the collection I started with. Wow. So now I'm going to share with you my 2 cents comparing from the last milestone. What is new? It's been a year, right? So some of the stuff I'm just going to mention it, but not going to demonstrate. I'm not going to elaborate on that because I started shooting the video and I realized, oops, it's more than half an hour already. So first, even though I could say I have more knowledge about incremental reading, how it works, because I have done the course and all of this, I have used it less time, which have two interpretations. It's truth or not true at all. It's true because I have used SuperMemo a lot, but for the sake of the videos, while shooting the videos for the course, not for my own personal usage, and with tutories. So sometimes, some weeks, I spend, let's say, 3 hours every day using SuperMemo, but not every single minute was for my own personal usage, if this makes sense. That's why I have taken a break with the course, because, bro, I need my own learning. I'm sacrificing for too long my own learning. So there's a quote, sometimes, to learn a new dance, you have to step away from a familiar dance floor. And then you will come back with new moves. So that's what I'm doing. Then I have a new focus on language learning. If you check previous milestones, I said the opposite. But then I realized I tried some stuff just quickly in Anki. I tried something like this, right? That the yellow is what I'm being asking, and this is A. It's not part of the question, it's part of the sentence, but it's not the focus of the flashcard and it's covered somewhere else in a sibling. I can do this because in Anki I have full-fledged CSS, unlike SuperMemo. And then, since I don't have a space, I have to put all of these when it will be a topic. So what I do instead is that now I have this SuperMemo, and I do this incrementally. I import, yes, but I import topics. I don't import items, flashcards. It will be pointless. And then I decide what I close. So this is how it will look once that is new. This is the car. And all of this is convention. So the T means the type of item it is. These characters are delimiting the example sentence, meaning it's not something, a question or a content. It's an example sentence. And this is the translation. I have all of these so I can search in SuperMemo because the search is limited. There's no braille expressions, HTML, and anything that I can do. And then imagine that later on I do this one. Oh, means car. So a noun that means car. And later on, imagine this is memorized, then this pops for the second time, and what is done? Topic particle marks the car as topic of the sentence. There's no sense, no. Okay. Then it could be the case that I have this sentence is not good enough. I will need an image because can be a car or could be T. I already knew that T is cha for other languages, right? So what I will perhaps generate is then a sibling, a new child or a sibling, and then use AI to generate this, but more meaningful, more unambiguous, right? Stuff like this. I don't want to extend more. I will do this in other videos. But basically, I try to reproduce the concept, the mindset of an incremental reader in Anki. I trying to reproduce this with multiple fields, so I create multiple cards from the same sentence using multiple card types. It was a complete mess because then is how do I know once I'm left in the sentence? Unless I do all of the sentence in one go and all of that. For me, it's a deal breaker. I have internalized so profoundly incrementalism that is a deal breaker. I prefer SuperMemo with the caveats. The deal breaker is even greater than that. And because Japanese has been years, they lost interest in the language anyways. I don't care. I'm not going to do the reps in Anki anyways. Then, I use AI a lot, and this has shaped dramatically my approach. For instance, the approach I do with language learning depends a lot on AI and stuff like this. Then, I no longer use the minimum concept principle. Do you see, before I had business economy management, I still have this merged. Now incrementally I'm doing more concepts, especially when I know they are temporary or they are goal oriented. Some kind of, at some degree, very high level, a task. Like for instance, pesticides. I identified that the spinach I was eating has some pesticides that are not mentioned in the container, because according to the law, there's certain stuff they are required by law to mention. Some they don't. So then you say, let me learn about the pesticides, just with the overarching goal to decide what to eat and what to not eat, more or less. Okay. Then I came across, since I merged the collections, not all of them yet, my text registry was above 100 megabytes. Too many. The Git backup solution uses GitLab or GitHub, and they impose, at least in the free tier, a 100 megabyte per file. Now I am above that, way above that. That's why now I do the local backup solution. And since they're local, because I don't trust the computer, can be stolen, can be burned or whatever, I have a backup solution once a week to the cloud. I just right click the entire folder, add to archive, I add here the date, the timestamp, 2025 August, and generate. It takes about 2 minutes, even if I have hundreds of thousands of archives. So this is just extra security. Then what happens with statistics is that I merge some collections or branches and it overflows, meaning that the quantity of items and repetitions that now I will see here, it's more than what I have in this collection. Because when you merge collections, some stats, they do aggregate, but some stats, they don't. I'm not going to tell you which one in particular, it will be covered in the course, but that means that I have more than, this collection now has 181,000 repetitions. I have more than 200,000 from some other collections that are not here. But it's not this number, it's in other places I'm not taking into account. Meaning that if now I export this to an XML, most of the intervals and the repetitions I got are not from this precise collection, but somewhere else. A good analogy is a country like Belgium or in Asia, Singapore, I think it's Singapore, or Malaysia, one of those, that most of the people, citizens, are foreigners, meaning that they were not born there. Same here. Most of the repetitions that I have here are from items that were not in this collection to begin with. Then, my usage with Anki is fading out to the minimum. Like the other direction as before, right? That SuperMemo was just for incremental reading, and that's it. Which makes sense, because now I use incrementalism. So I use Anki for drilling the audio, for instance, Mandarin tones, stuff like this. But other than that, I don't need it. I only keep what I already have that is very old, from 2009, 2010, 11, and so on. The intervals are super long, and I only need like 2 repetitions a day to keep it. And some of the language that is very dense, like the drilling the tones in Mandarin, stuff like this. Then, some of the decisions I have taken, will not have been the same today if I will not have had some information that is not public. For instance, I do Korean, albeit with massive conventions, because then, if I export this someday, I can put this in different fields if it's in Anki, right? Because I can do the regex, stuff like that, and identify what it is, despite the content. Awesome. Why don't I don't put the sentence in a third component? Because this is not exported when you use XML. Only if it's HTML, I think uses the element number of that file. Uses the file number linked. But it's very prone because what if there's none, like this case? SuperMemo will convert this to plain text, so this link is lost, and stuff like this. There, just to mention one detail, but there are more. That's why, even though it's not implemented, I trust him that he will do it in the upcoming versions, as he mentioned. That's why I preemptively chosen this approach, because it's safe. It's future-proof. And lastly, I have more templates as a consequence, because now I have more flows. Now I have the language learning flow and so on. So I have a template for Korean and sound, because when I want the sound to be inherited, even though it's temporary, once I'm familiar enough, proficient enough with the language, I will delete the sound, because the sound is not required. So I have the sentence, and the sentence being spoken. It's not that I have audio only and I have to recall, like, oh, what tone was that, like in Anki. Therefore, like I did in Japanese, once it's good for me, I get rid of the sound, so it's easier to back up the collection and all of that. In SuperMemo creates a lot of friction, and at the end of the day, I'm going to have 1 or 2 repetitions max in my life. Not worth it. Then another for Longman, because I'm going to import one branch and I have about 2,000 topics like this. Again, temporary. Picture, which is my article, but less. What do I mean by that? The article has 2 image components, and the picture only has 1. So for me, the picture is when I only have 1 single component that they need to be larger. That's why I only have 150 elements like that. This is only for the course. It won't be in my genuine collection once I'm done, because the paid extra of SuperMemo course, the slides, and it will also cover notes and flashcards. It will be gone from my collection. Then the item default, which contains 4 images. Then English, I change the background, and Korean, the background, they have audio just in case. But I also change the styling. It's a slightly larger and it's a different font. I need this for Korean, at least for now. Then I have the item AI, which looks exactly the same as the item, by the way, with all of the images as well. The only thing that I make this distinction, because I want to compare my retention rate. I can browse them very easily and then check the stats, the greatest stats, stuff like this. And because what I did here, it's very low quality. I added, because what I had is the limit of 100 megabytes, I wanted to quickly go below 100 megabytes in my text registry. So I got the largest topics, then the low priority ones, and process this with AI, generate the flashcards without me reading the content. Some topics were half processed by me, some were probably new, and since this is a no-no, it's a bad practice, is let me do an experiment. If I lose, it's not a big deal, because even if there are 5,000 flashcards, they were very low quality, very low effort. So I just copy pasted sections and that's it. It's not a big loss. And I could compare this against what I do, that I use AI as well. Not necessarily, but I can use it. I make it my own, I supervise, okay, it's good enough, or I make my change, especially to be compliant with my so many conventions. But I have read the content, I have read the flashcard, and I have verified the flashcard. So it's the same as if I have done the flashcard myself. That's why I keep this template on its own. Then item picture required that I have to look at the image in order to answer the question. Task, in the rare case, I create tasks which are short term. And dismissed now applies most to the course because I want to quickly differentiate what are folders and what are dismissed topics. So I can go here, browse, and it's a lot quicker for my convenience. And when I apply, not when I apply done, when I dismiss right away, I also apply this template. It's just one of my conventions. So this has been more or less the overview of the 5 years milestone with SuperMemo, how I use it. I did an effort to just have an overview. I will have some other videos. The AI will be on the course already, so no worries. And some of them are long enough that I will have dedicated videos. Hey, that's the new flow I have with SuperMemo. Feel free to use it. It's not that it's part of the course. That is how it's meant to be used, not in this section. And to come full circle, most of the prevented me to use SuperMemo was the course, and actually the tutoring. And what has changed from the 4-year milestone is that now I do provide my tutoring through Soki AI, Soki AG, the company I co-founded. So this is more professional, so you can book a session, you can see my availability. On the availability, like this, tomorrow you can check when I'm available, and you can pay directly here with a credit card. That before I didn't accept credit card because now we are using Stripe and so on. And remember, this is not limited to SuperMemo. You're enjoying the learning process, your learning tools can be Anki, whatever, or a combination of, oh, I want to do language learning, and I have a combination of apps, whatever that is, to achieve your goal, how to do it, how to reduce the friction so it's pleasurable, and stuff like this. A lot more convenient than before. That you needed to contact me, I sent the link, you had the payment was more manual, stuff like this. So that has been all for now about my collection. 5 years, milestone, a lot more to go, a lot more to come, and the course will continue. That's all for now. See you incrementally.